This is the third My Hero Academia movie we've had. And with that, we have a new character. In the first movie, we got All Might's tech-savvy friend and his daughter. In the second one, we got the little kids. And in this one, we get a young man called Rody. And he is easily the worst out of all the new characters that they've introduced in these movies. He's got the old sob story where his father left him and he has to look after his two siblings. Of course, he's sad and depressed. And he's committing crimes to provide for his family. I don't care for him at all. They tried to make him interesting by having him tied to a group of villains. It didn't really work. It's such a shame because this movie had the best setup of all the movies. The humans who are quirkless have started an underground society on a mission to wipe out everyone with quirks. And they released this toxin into the air in this city as a test run to kill all these people with quirks. And then you see all these heroes just coming out the sky. You see Deku, Shoto, and Bakugo all in their cool suits, all ready to do action, and then nothing really happens. It just jumps, and suddenly all three of them are just walking down the street in casual clothes, and they witness a robbery. They're following these people with this suitcase, and eventually the suitcase gets handed to Rody. Shoto and Bakugo are dealing with something else. There's a switcher of the suitcase, and Deku catches him, and throughout most of this movie, it's just traveling with Rody and Deku. There's no action, nothing is going on, it's just them talking to each other. Even halfway through the movie, there is a music video type thing for about 3 minutes where this song just plays and they're just sitting in a van traveling. What was the point? What was the point? You had such an interesting premise that you could have fleshed out so much. You could have developed all these people in this society to find out why they actually hate the quirks, but they don't do that. And at the end, it really undoes itself as well, but we'll get to that in a bit. Saving grace for this movie for me was Shoto and Bakugo. If you took them out of this movie, it would be a very hard watch because I was bored throughout most of this movie. It was only their scenes that picked up for me and I was like, okay, awesome. Even All Might, when he was just in a suit just talking to a guy, that was much more interesting than anything Deku and Rody actually did. I don't care that he's a sorry sack. I just don't. He can be miserable, fine. Oh look, he's got a problem with heroes because his dad joined the humanitarians and they've been ousted because he was their father, and that's the reason why he disappears. There's no like huge reveal like, oh yeah, you know, he's this really important person in this society or anything like that. Something does happen, but it's just such a throwaway and it doesn't develop anyone whatsoever. They tried to have like the little hoorah at the end with Rody and Deku, but it really didn't work. Deku's whole thing throughout the final fight was, if I punch it harder, it will work. There was no thought process or anything like that while he's fighting. It was just punch, 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 punch. And the thing that gets me, right, is this society with normal quirkless people, right? You kind of got a main threat where they're versing normal people, gas. At the end, they're not fighting normal people. They're fighting people with quirks who are part of this society. Yes, that's right. The people who are trying to wipe out this society are not villains. They're not from the Villains League or anything like that. They're just people with quirks who just happen to be in this society and just want to wipe out all the rest of the quirks. No reason, no valid reason whatsoever. One of them has a throwaway line like, oh, I want to survive. But if you were in this association and you had a quirk, you could just kill the humans and be done with it. It would be so simple. But instead there's like 20 people with quirks are part of this association. And they're fighting Shoto, Bakugo, and Deku, whilst all the rest of the heroes are trying to disarm these bombs because they've found out where the hideout is. Again, I like My Hero Academia, I do. But one of my main gripes with it is it's always up to the kids to save the day. You know, it's never Endeavour, it's never All Might, it's never their time to shine. It's always these kids who are still in school and still training to save the day. It just doesn't make sense. Either graduate them and then develop them then, or figure out a different way of doing it. It made sense in Naruto with him saving the village and stuff like that because he was only protecting a village. If we were in Japan still and they were protecting Japan, that makes sense. But they're worldwide. They're literally saving the whole world. It's absurd. It's absurd. And all the heroes from Japan as well, they're spread out throughout Europe, even America, I think. There's no other heroes in any of the other continents. And it's not explained why we don't see any other heroes in the other continents or what they're actually doing. They they just seem lost. It was never established that only Japan had quirks, so it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And of course, Rody gets his time to shine because, of course, he's got this secret quirk. Wink, wink, wink. It's a stupid reveal. It really, really is. I'm not going to say what it is, but oh my word. It's Deku fighting with a guy who can reflect his own attacks, right? And he's all angry because he was never given a hug when he was a child. Great, you're a full-grown man. Grow up. You know, you can't touch people because he reflects. Fine, but surely they could hug you, because if you hug someone, it's not like a huge, powerful attack. You're just going to have a little squeeze. That's about it. It's essentially the same amount of power that you would have in a poke. And I'm sure that somebody wouldn't mind being poked at all. If it's going to reflect it, and oh yeah, they're going to get poked because you've poked someone. It just doesn't work. What is that even supposed to be? That doesn't make any sense at all. Yes, if someone's going to punch you and it's going to reflect that, that's going to hurt. But a hug? Really? I did enjoy the final boss fights that Shoto and Bakugo had, especially Bakugo's. That was amazing. They started using Trigger, which I was so happy that they brought from Vigilantes, and they started just getting roid rage, and they were just going Rah! And it was just epic and beautiful to watch. I love the fact that these two actually got their moment to shine. I know Bakugo got his moment in the second movie, but Shoto didn't really get anything. And in this one, they are literally fighting tanks, and it's amazing. It really, really is amazing. But if this wasn't in the movie, it wouldn't have any silver linings for me. There's nothing else in this movie I'd go, oh wow, that was amazing. Like even the girls, like they've been so sidelined throughout My Hero Academia so far. Like Froppy and Tahara and Momo, give them something to do. But again, in this, it was just the three guys. And Rody, it's just... I don't see what they're trying to achieve in this movie. Yes, all the other movies have been throwaways, right? They weren't part of the whole big narrative that My Hero Academia has been building with the villains. They've all had their own villain that was there for that movie and then just disappeared again. And showed such promise. First 5 minutes were epic. And then they just piss it away. They don't even have like a secret vial at the end where they're like, oh yes, we've set off one of the bombs in this base, you know? You've got a time limit to escape, otherwise you're going to die. You don't even get that. There's no tension in any of this. If you just compare this to Dragon Ball Broly or Mugen Train, it just doesn't stand up because there is no emotional weight in this movie whatsoever. I'd even say the animation wasn't as spectacular. Now, I know Mugen Train is very, very high bar in the animated quality. I get that. And so is Dragon Ball. But Dragon Ball and My Hero, they're not really that far anymore. They're both mega franchises for Shonen Jump. Surely you would think they wouldn't want to capitalize on this and they'd want a bit of that pie. They'd want to make loads and loads of money. Now, my movie theater was packed. It was. And we had someone dressing up as Toga, Deku. Loved it, great. That this was the movie that they decided to make. It could have been focused on something else, something much more interesting, something much more developed. That's all I really have to say about the movie. It was okay.